All right, for some budget speculation analysis and a bit more, I'm joined from Sydney by Sky News host Chris Smith and from Sydney also 2GB radio host Michael McLaren. Gentlemen, before I get your thoughts about what we might expect in the budget, given all the economic experts we're going to hear from in the next 24 hours, I thought we'd go out in the street. We'll kick things off with the views of real people. It's their money in the budget, after all, that we're spending. What is it they want to hear from Josh Frydenberg tonight?
I would say what's important is a budget that actually benefits the community and the ratepayers and taxpayers that it's actually going to affect.
I've got two kids and a young family, so everything counts.
That or maybe just small businesses, because I know, especially after COVID, a lot of people are trying to start up. You know, it's not as easy as it used to be.
Healthcare. I think support for disadvantaged Australians.
Mental health, yeah.
I think they should help pensioners and also help young people who are unemployed, So.
Education, supporting nurses, yep.
And education, roads, infrastructure stuff.
Chris Smith, what would you like to see from Josh Frydenberg tonight?
Well, Peter, let me tell you what I don't want him to do, which is basically create this pretense that they can change the cost of living. They cannot change the cost of living overnight, which is why I'm not a fan of the reduction in the petrol excise. But what I'd like to see is the big ticket items. I'd like to see things like dams. We've got to do more with our water. We get enough water, we've got to harvest it. I want to see more rail projects, road projects, guaranteed jobs and improved productivity. And what I also want to see is some attempt, just some attempt, to try and wind back the debt. Instead of my kids having to, put up with a lower standard of living because they've got governments who have to keep paying off massive interest bills. That scares the hell out of me, and I hope tonight we hear something about that from Josh Frydenberg.
I'm a conservative in many things, but particularly a conservative when it comes to the budget, Michael, and I don't like to see government money or taxpayers' money, it's not government money, our money, wasted on things that people can pay for themselves, people can do for themselves, vouchers to take your kid along to the footy and vouchers for sporting things, all that sort of rats and mice spending. I want it on the really big things that we as individuals can't fund, like roads and dams and ports and all of that. Now, John Howard used to say you can't fatten a pig on market day. We're on the cusp of an election. A lot of pressure on Josh Frydenberg to make this budget the government's launching pad for the campaign. Do you reckon that Morrison pig's fat enough, or it needs a bit of fattening?
Peter, I think it's been feasting on acorns for far too long. It'll win at the Easter show next week, no doubt. I agree with both you and with Chris. I think one of the things, and perhaps budget night isn't the proper forum for it, but I don't know when is these days. I think what we need to see, when we talk about waste, the greatest waste isn't even, Dine and Discover vouchers and this. I think the greatest waste is the duplication between the federal government and the states. What we need is wholesale federation reform. I mean, you're talking surely, you'd know, Peter, better than me, but you're talking surely tens of billions of dollars per annum. If you started to iron out the duplication in government departments between the states, territories, sometimes local councils and the federal government. And, as you know, the federal government's the big cash cow. The states, as we've just learnt through COVID, have all the power. There's a mismatch there. The whole thing's a schmozzle. If we address that, and you could tip a lot of money straight into defence, which we, as Christian Porter's highlighting, we need to do very, very fast. A lot of the stuff that will be announced is important to individuals. But at the end of the day, if what some of the foreign policy people are saying is true, it's all going to be pretty irrelevant pretty quick.